Welcome, greetings, and salutations to this video. After waiting for a few days, the new markers finally arrived. And in this video, I will be swatching them and making sure that every color is there and all the colors are correct. Now, as you can see, they sent all the markers in this nice little black bag. And it is a bit loose, so I had to put some things in it to make sure that it doesn't as easily fall over and stuff. But the bag is quite efficient because it holds all the markers, and then I know that the markers can't get lost because these small things easily get lost, if you know what I mean. The reason why I bought these new ones, even though I still have the old ones, or at least most of them, is because for the other art project that I'm busy with, the accordion sketchbook, some of the colors have been running out and I don't have a wide range of other colors. So I did buy the bigger set, which is quite a lot bigger than the smaller set that I now have. There is one very important color that is completely dried in the small set that I now have because of the bigger set that I bought, which is the baby blue color. And here you can see the old swatch pad that I had, or rather not a pad, but a page that I had of the smaller set of the markers. These markers are the touch markers, and I did order 168 markers, and at the end, luckily all of them was there and none of them were dried out. As you can see, the color is displayed on the caps and there is a chisel and a point tip on each marker. Before I did anything, I took all the markers outside of the bag and put them so that I can see the colors of the markers and easily know which color to take next, because I'm going to swatch them in a gradient style. But before I start swatching, I did want to do something with the bag, because I still want to store them in a bag, but it's a bit flimsy. After searching for a while, I did find a box almost the exact size of the bag, so that made my job a lot easier. All that I really had to do was cut off all 4 flaps and keep 2 so that I can make a halfway slit into the short one and into a long one, so that I can make a divider for 4 different color types. And I did that by folding it in half and then cutting it on the half point, and that made the divider that I used for the markers. And after I glued the dividers into the box, all that I had to do was put it into the bag, which I did struggle a little bit because it was such a perfect fit, but it did go in after a bit of struggle and pushing and shoving. I'm very glad that it is a perfect fit, because the smaller set that I have, the box that I used for that was a bit smaller than a bag, so the box moved around a lot and it caused the markers to kind of fall over sometimes, and not all the markers fit into that box now. I did want to do a little bit of planning before I start swatching the markers and before I even start thinking of what I'm going to write on the bigger page. After the planning, I did decide to make a hanging sign with the company's name or the kind of markers that I bought, which is the word touch. And I also decided to use my calligraphy pen for that word. I will say I didn't really plan properly for the drawings that I did on this page, nor the swatching that I did, so there are quite a few mistakes that I made. All of the letters, especially the T and the H, went perfectly. It didn't smudge, I didn't make a mistake, nothing. But the U smudged so much that I tried fixing it later on with a normal pen. But sadly, I went over with so much ink that the page started ripping, so I had to leave it like that. And of course, the page looked a little bit boring, so I tried adding a rainbow streak going across the page, and of course I couldn't use anything else than the markers. I tried making a gradient from red to pink to yellow to green to blue, but it was a little bit patchy because this kind of page soaks up ink. It's a watercolor page, so it's not best for markers, but it's the biggest page or the biggest type page that I have. And after I did the gradient, it still looked a bit boring, so I added a bit of stars and planets on the rainbow that went across, or the gradient that went across. After I added some color, I then started planning out each box for the markers I was going to swatch. Because for each marker that I was going to swatch, I wanted to, of course, have the color, and then I also wanted to write the name of the color and its number, so that if I get confused between some names, because there are duplicates of numbers and names, then I know exactly what combination of the name and the number, so that I know which marker I'm trying to find. As you can see here, I made a block for each color, and I also wanted to use the chisel and point tip alongside the number and the name of each color. After all the planning was done, I started with the light pink. Before I swatched them completely, I did put them on separate paper to know which color comes first, because sometimes the color that comes out of the point is a bit different than a color on the cap. As you can see, some of the colors are a bit more yellow than pink. I did struggle to draw a line between yellow colors and pink colors because they are quite similar when it comes to sand or cream. But I did decide to put them with the pink color. After I was done with most of the light pinks, it went over to dark pinks and then to red. And after the red was done, it went over to purple. I will say in this set, which is also the biggest set that you can get of the touch markers, they gave a pretty good range of colors. While I was swatching all the colors, those that I already swatched, I tried to put back into their place, which I started with the light pinks and the purples and the reds, and then started with the blues by swatching them. And of course, after swatching all the blues, the light ones and the dark ones, I also put them into the bag. After the blues were in the bag, I started swatching the green color, going from dark green to light green. After all the green was done, I then went into the yellow color, and sadly, after the yellow color was done, all the fun and pretty colors were already swatched. So from here on out, it's pretty much just brown and grays. In the bag, the way that I decided to separate all the colors wasn't by technically color, it was by the range of color that it was. For example, rather than making one section the blue color or one section the red color, I made one section light colors and the other darker colors, and the next one gray colors. As you can see, and as I have said before, after the yellow came orange, then brown, and then I finished off with the gray colors. The last color that I used wasn't actually a gray nor even actually a color, it was actually a blender, which didn't actually show up, which I'm actually glad that it didn't show up in a page. That doesn't make a mark. Here you can see all the colors that is in the bag, and that is this project technically done. I love how these markers look and how they blend, and the colors that they have now in the bigger set. I love how they look and the effect that they give on some drawings. And now that we are at the end of the video, I thank you all for watching till the end. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. Remember to take care of yourself, rest, and I will see you in another video.